Welcome to Channels Business Global with me, Simon Pusey, from our studios here in London. My colleague Juliana Olayinka is away with family and will be back with you next week. But coming up on today's show, the Women in Management, Business and Public Service London Conference was recently held at the Royal National Hotel in London. Prior to her departure, Juliana was joined in the studio by the event's conveners. They discussed the significant impact of their initiatives, which have empowered hundreds of thousands of women to transcend their limits and achieve remarkable career growth. And last week, the Ministry of Finance in Nigeria welcomed distinguished delegates from across the continent to the African Caucus 2024 held in Abuja. The conference focused on pivotal initiatives aimed at bolstering Pan-African payment systems and improving regional connectivity. Stay tuned as we will soon share the key highlights from the important gathering. Then later, during last month's National Diaspora Day, NIDCOM honoured the significant contributions of Nigerians in the diaspora to national development, with a special emphasis on agriculture, philanthropy and healthcare. We will be sharing the key discussions from this event. But first, last month, Women in Management, Business and Public Service held their second annual conference in London at the Royal National Hotel. Themed Next Level Succeeding Beyond Boundaries, the prestigious event convened hundreds of women from across the globe, fostering exploration of new frontiers in both personal and professional growth. A diverse array of speakers inspired attendees with their insights on leadership, entrepreneurship and personal development. Prior to her holiday, Juliana had the opportunity to sit down with two of the event's conveners to discuss the impactful sessions.
Omowumi Akingbowingbe, Caroline Popuola, thank you so much for joining me in the Channels Business Global studio. You look fabulous, by the way, and you smell amazing.
Thanks for having us.
And there were lots of smells, lots of amazing women looking fabulous with perfect CVs at the recently held WimBiz International Conference in London. It was the second edition. Yes. But before we talk about Saturday's event, let's claw back a little bit if we can. Omowumi, talk to me about WimBiz and its contribution to economic empowerment of women in business, not just in Nigeria, but clearly across the world.
Yes, you're very right on that. We are global. WimBiz has been in existence for the past 23 years. And over that period, we've been able to inspire and impact over 330,000 women. And our mission is driven by 4 pillars. We want to inspire, we want to empower, we want to connect, and also advocate for women causes. In doing this, we have a series of programs and initiatives that we embark on. We have mentoring programs. We have the WIM board, for instance, preparing women to be board ready and serve on international organizations, irrespective of where they are across the world. With regards to us being global, now, these 4 pillars that I mentioned is relevant to any woman, wherever you are in the world. So it's not just a Nigerian movement. We have African roots, but with a global perspective.
Yeah, gosh, I was just going to say, the impact clearly has been felt. I, of course, was at the event last weekend, and the history, the journey was so inspiring. Really, the who's who of female leaders on the continent have been involved at WimBiz, with WimBiz at some point in their career. Talk to me, Caroline, about your involvement. You are Vice Chair of the International Conference Planning Committee. How has WimBiz changed your life?
Oh, thank you so much. Lovely to be here. Similar to what Wumi said, I went on the mentoring program last year. I've always admired them. Obviously, I live in the UK. And I went on the board, Be Ready board mentoring session.
Why?
Because I felt in my career, I've got to the stage now, I want to be board ready. And I'm a member of the Institute of Directors in the UK. So I thought, okay, let's do some hands-on, hand-holding, real-life scenarios of people that are on it and they can advise you and so on. So I went on that. And 2 weeks later, I noticed they were advertising that they were coming to the UK. I'm thinking, wow, yes, please.
Synchronicity.
You know, right, immediately. Yeah. So I'm like, guys, I'll do anything. Let me say, I'll come and arrange chairs, whatever it is you want me to do. So I was just so excited that they're coming to the UK. And honestly, Juliana, in terms of networking, it's key. I made an effort to go to the November annual conference in Nigeria last year, and that's
Is that the one where there was party? We were just talking off air about how they party more in Lagos.
I did the party bit, but honestly, in terms of networking, I have a personal event in Nigeria in July normally, and there's been one or two people within the network in just a short period of time that's really made an impact in my business, and even expanding from being a businesswoman in the UK, expanding globally to Nigeria and to Ghana, in terms of you not knowing anyone in those areas. And so this is what WimBiz is about. Hence the reason I'm really advocating and screaming on the rooftop that, guys, you need to come and be a part of this.
Absolutely. 330,000 people.
That's incredible.
It is absolutely incredible. You felt the electricity in the room and the impact. We know that we can't do it alone. The discussion on Saturday evolved various areas, especially being a mother, being parents, and, you know, juggling being a parent, trying to elevate your career. Talk to me, Omowumi, about your journey, because, of course, you are the executive director. How did you get there?
Well, I worked in the banking industry for about 18 years, but along the space, I've always been in the background of the NGO space because I find personal fulfillment in that area. So I signed up with WimBiz as a mentee for the mentoring program, and I was assigned to an amazing lady. From there, I learned so much in that program and that relationship, because apart from the mentor that you're assigned to, you still have the opportunity within that program to relate with so many other people, women and even men sometimes, that have been there and done that. Too. Exactly.
We do.
That have been there and done that. So you're not starting from the scratch. You're not reinventing the wheel. They're telling you this is the way to go. And you know, in life, we're really about the decisions that we make. But if you do not know the people that have gone through this before you, know the right decisions to take, you just find out that time is gone. So I was able to leverage on the knowledge from my mentor and take some it made me even assess my whole life when it comes to my career journey. And I know that being in a space like this, the social impact space, is where I will find more fulfillment. So from my banking top senior officer in the bank, I decided to take this blodge when I heard the opportunity opened up. But of course, I knew about it, heard about it, because I was already within the network. There are so many other opportunities that I've heard about prior to now, even in other organizations that were also in line with the career path that I was taking.
But this one was what was right.
Exactly.
For you, Caroline, talk to me about the second event. We're showing some pictures now. Beautiful images, really inspiring event. What outcomes do you hope to achieve, and why London? Why not Paris, New York, or Berlin?
So obviously, based on what the plan WimBiz has, and Omowumi will talk about our future plan in a minute, it felt so comfortable for WimBiz last year to come into London because, one, we have the new Japa syndrome. There's lots of that going on. There's lots of Africans, so not just Nigerians, lots of Africans, especially parents, that are going through this new system of like, I've found myself in this country. I don't even know how to help myself. Exactly. So it's like the cry for help. And we heard that and listened to that last year when the committee met and they talked about it. And it was, okay, what would Africans in the UK want to hear, what would want to know about? Hence the reason we all came together as a committee and decide what topics are relevant to the people that are here at present.
Are there major differences, do you think, between women in the diaspora, women in Nigeria? Or are we all going through the same issues?
We're going through the same issues. However, what we take for granted in Nigeria, when you come to a new country, you have to...
Help with the kids.
So, for example, we had, and I'm not going to call so many names, but we went somewhere on the Friday and we got talking to one of these government officials that we went as a WimBiz group, and we got 60 children got taken away last month from parents that of African descent. Exactly.
The discipline.
So why should we have to do that? Why should we have to go through that? That's a pain that any parent would ever... And they're going into the system, and you and I know the system's not great. So why is that? So for those of us that are here, and the likes of WimBiz coming in, helping out and having this conversation, bringing this conversation to the forefront. Look, there's help here. You don't have to go through this. And I feel that's what WimBiz is about. And I feel from what we had on Saturday, that's what the conversation we should be having. I mean, in my closing remark, I said, look, you've learned this, go back into the community and impact your community.
Absolutely.
Don't just hold on to the conversation you just had. It's not just for you, it's for you to go and impact. And who are those people facing those challenges in the community and go and make a difference?
But those
go make
cultural
a change.
nuances are very, very important. What are the future plans for WimBiz and international events on Mawumi?
When it comes to WimBiz in Nigeria, is a household name.
Yes.
We've been able to penetrate the system, connect with women. We have a robust database. Now it's time to take it to the next level and reach out to other regions of the world.
Yeah.
We're deliberate about being global now. And everything that we intend to do is still being driven by our mission, which is to inspire and empower women to attain leadership positions. If we have more women in leadership positions, it's just simply about maximizing the use of resources, human resources that is available. So that's the same thing we're spreading. We're here in London, groundbreaking. We've started and our momentum is not going down. And we're not just sitting in Nigeria saying, oh, things are happening. We're working with people domiciled here.
You're actually doing it.
Exactly. And we keep the conversations real.
Of course, we've got millions of people watching now. Some women will be feeling great, some not so great. What kind of advice would you give them? How can they reach out to WimBiz? What do they need to do to be a part of this amazing network?
We're very social friendly.
Yeah.
So you can go to our website, which is WimBiz, WimBiz.org. We're on Instagram. Just type that same letters. You'll see us there. Twitter, YouTube, we're there. And our contact details is clearly displayed on that. I mean, you can just drop your information, send us a DM, and we will definitely respond. We will tell you how to sign up and be an associate, how you can be a part of our program, share our calendars with you for any of our events happening across the globe.
And finally, and I'll get both of you to comment on this, for some women, they will feel intimidated. Even women who are doing very well in their careers do feel like, oh God, you know, is it the right wig? Is it the right outfit? Can I go? What advice would you give to some women who are still like, no, I don't need friends outside of church friends or family friends?
So if you want to change, you have to be a part of that change.
Yeah.
And what I said to so many women that came in on Saturday is the fact that, look, we need you on board. We need to know the issues you want us to talk about. Yeah. So that's key. But in addition to that, just be yourself.
Yeah.
Honestly, and I'm sure you have so many people on social or come on TV and they say, you think, when you look at them, you think they're extroverts. But genuinely, they're actually very shy, very introverted. And so again, there's space for everyone.
You'll meet your match there. Easy. The two of you.
Exactly.
And you hold your hands together, you know. There's space for everyone. Yeah. And what I love about, even when I went to the Nigerian one, I just knew I wanted to just be myself. So I didn't want to be with anyone else. I didn't know anyone in Nigeria.
You just went in.
I just went in, sat at the back and just listened.
And you didn't regret.
And honestly, it's the best ever.
Last words from you, Omawumi?
Well, we're stronger when we're together. If you take a stick of the broom, you can't sweep it all up, but together. Yeah. So it's very important that we come together as women and make things happen. Absolutely. Not just even about what can I do for myself, what can I do for others, what can I do about the nation building that we all want to drive, because in the long run, it's better for us, it's better for our children coming up and the generation next.
I think given the mood music on the ground back home in Nigeria, I think, you know, you talking about coming together is very, very important, especially for our youth. There are so many alternative ways to get your voice across other than anger. Omawumi Akingbongbe, Executive Director at WimBiz, and Caroline Popuola, Vice Chair, WimBiz International Conference Planning Committee. It's been an absolute pleasure sharing the studio with you. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you very much, Juliana. Thank you for having us.
Coming up on Channels Business Global, last week, the Ministry of Finance in Nigeria welcomed distinguished delegates from across the continent to the African Caucus 2024 held in Abuja. The conference focused on pivotal initiatives aimed at bolstering Pan-African payment systems and improving regional connectivity. Stay tuned, as we will soon share the key highlights from this important gathering. And during last month's National Diaspora Day, NIDCOM honoured the significant contributions of Nigerians in the diaspora to national development, with a special emphasis on agriculture, philanthropy and healthcare. We will be sharing the key discussions from this event. All of this after the break. Do stay with us. Welcome back to Channels Business Global with me, Simon Pusey, from our studios here in London. My colleague Juliana Olayinka is away with family and will be back with you next week. The Africa Caucus serves as a pivotal platform for leaders and stakeholders to engage in significant, impactful discussions on the crucial issues shaping the continent's economic growth and development. This year, the event, hosted by the Federal Ministry of Finance in Abuja, was themed Facilitating Intra-African Trade, a Catalyst for Sustainable Economic Growth in Africa.
Education, training, human development as a whole, that is critical. Infrastructure. You talked about digital infrastructure in this case, but it's applicable across the board. And of course, the right regulatory environment, the right policies. And it's interesting that as we kick off our conversation, we focus on technology, but we learn lessons that are applicable across the board. Let us talk about developing our people, our manpower. Let us talk about developing our infrastructure, and let us get our policies right so that we can attract the resources, we can attract the investors, particularly, as we all know, the private sector, where the big money is. Whether it is our own domestic investors, whether it is foreign investors, portfolio investors do provide a flow of funds, but the real prize is foreign direct investment that goes so far in helping to increase productivity, grow the economy, create jobs, and achieve our ultimate goal, which is to reduce poverty. So, on that note, I look forward to the rest of the conversation about technology, about digitization. But I'd like us to really, during our next couple of days, focus on the resilience that we need to build in our economies. Let us look at, as I discussed earlier today, and was brought to my notice, let us look at things differently. When we want to look at immigration, let us look at the cost, not that what other people feel that it is a negative to their society. It can't be minus and minus. For us, it's a huge loss. So, of course, it's a gain for those on the other side who are receiving our best talent. And finally, let us focus on inequality. Whilst we are discussing debt, while we are discussing trade, let us focus on the core inequality, the fundamental inequalities that are holding us back across the board. So that's not my welcome address. That's for tomorrow. But I've taken the opportunity to really begin the conversation, and I look forward to the rest of the conversation on digital economy. But let's take every opportunity we can over the next couple of days to say what's really on our minds. Thank you.
Well, this is the African Caucus. It's a gathering of governors of the central banks and ministers of finance, who are actually governors at the World Bank, of Africa. So it's a gathering of the African continent to talk development. In this case, we're talking about facilitating intra-African trade as a basis for sustainable development. So in this short 2 days or so of discussion, we will come together, we will talk about inclusiveness, sustainable growth, inequality, the financial flows, climate change, a whole host of issues that affect African economies. This gathering allows us to table the issues of the moment, make our voices heard, make our requests, even our demands. And at the same time, it's an opportunity for people to also to talk financing, to talk development financing in particular, but in general, to look for solutions to the development issues, matters, and perspectives that are affecting the African continent. It's an opportunity for an important dialogue that we will not pass up easily. We will make the most of it. We will come out, I believe, at the end of the day, with concrete proposals to move things forward on the African continent. That's why we're here. That's our determination. And that's what we hope to achieve. And Nigeria is happy and honored and pleased to be hosting this international and continental event. Well, I think overall, what we are talking about is the ability to facilitate trade, the ability to, as much as possible, connect our economies. And to the extent that a common currency will help with that, all well and good. In Nigeria, you would have heard just the other day the commitment to working out the details of allowing the sale in Naira of crude oil to the refiners, which allows them also now to refine their product and, of course, sell the refined products in Naira to Nigerians, thereby cutting out the whole international financial network, which really just adds to the costs of the product to the Nigerian consumer. By cutting out all those different costs and charges, letters of credit, and insurance, and so on and so forth. By doing that, we bring the product closer to the consumer and we bring the cost down.
The Nigerians in Diaspora Commission recently held its National Diaspora Day at the Presidential Villa in Abuja. The event, themed Japa Phenomena and its implications for national development, recognised and celebrated the contributions of Nigerians in the diaspora to national development. Well, sadly, that's all we have time for today. But as always, do get in touch with your comments and suggestions. Juliana and I will see you at the same time next week for more in-depth business analysis on Channel's Business Global.